I do like that since starting this channel I can use the excuse that buying books is just content now. Hello everyone, my name is Chloe, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here today. So today's video is going to be my May haul. So everything that I bought during the month of May. I did get a fair few books. I have previously been working from home and now I've started going into the office, which means that I go past Waterstones fairly regularly, so I have called in a few times and bought things. I've also just had quite a few pre-orders this month, and yeah, I'm not going to ramble too much before I start. I am just going to get straight into it and tell you everything that I have hauled this month. So the first one is actually two books in one, and I actually unboxed these in a reading vlog, so if you've watched all my videos you'll have already seen them, and they are Days of Blood and Starlight and Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor. So these are the Illumicrate editions. I've told the story before about how I had pre-ordered these, not having the first book in the series in these editions, and last month I hauled the first book in the series. I spent a bit too much money trying to find it. These ones I actually just purchased from Illumicrate. They are gorgeous. They have frayed edges. There's the beautiful 10th anniversary covers. They also have some beautiful artwork underneath, but yeah, I'm very happy that I have the complete collection now. I particularly love the orange colour on this one, and obviously these are books that I've already read, so they're not adding to my TBR, they're just looking pretty on my shelves. In the next couple of months I'll hopefully be hauling some more special edition Laini Taylors. I had them ordered, I'm just not sure when they're arriving, so my Laini Taylor shelf is getting more and more cluttered, and I think it's going to have to go onto two shelves pretty soon. So the next book is one that I happened to stumble across a signed copy in my local Waterstones, and that is The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary. So Beth O'Leary is the author of The Flatshare and also The Switch, and I loved both of those books, so I was very happy to stumble across this one, which, like I said, is a signed copy. And basically it tells the story of Addie. Addie and her sister are travelling up to Scotland, I believe, for a wedding, and on the way they end up in a car accident, and the person who has gone into the back of their car happens to be Addie's ex-boyfriend, who she hasn't spoke to for 2 years, and basically her sister, her ex-boyfriend and his friend all end up having to road trip up to this wedding together. They're all going in the same direction, they're all going to the wedding, so they all end up travelling up together, and I think it's them two kind of confronting their past relationship. I'm going to guess that there's some romance in here, if that's what her other books tend to have been. Like I said, I really enjoyed her last two books, so I'm happy to have this one. Don't know when I'll get around to reading it, but thought I'd pick it up and I'll get to it eventually. On that same trip to Waterstones I actually bought a few other books. I think I bought 4 in total. So the next one was Odd One Out by Nick Stone. This is one that I have been wanting to read for a while. I just kept forgetting to buy it, basically. I believe it's about a love triangle, and one of the characters is bi. So she's in a love triangle where there is a boy that she likes and also a girl that she likes. And I don't know too much else about it. I just know that I really like Nick Stone's writing. I have recently read Dear Justice, having read Dear Martin a few years ago, and yeah, I really like her writing style. So when I actually saw this in a store I thought, you know what, I've been meaning to buy that for ages. I kept forgetting to get it, I might as well pick it up. And then the third book I bought on that trip was All American Boys by Jason Reynolds and Brendan Keeley. So Jason Reynolds, again, I've read from before. He wrote Long Way Down, and Brendan Keeley I've never actually even heard of. But this, I believe, is a book that came out a few years ago in America and has more recently been published in the UK because it was on the buy one get one half price table, which tends to be more new releases. Yeah, it does actually say first published in the UK in 2021, but it was published in America in 2015. And basically it is about police brutality. So it is about a kid who is accused of stealing, all because he accidentally bumps into somebody in a store. The police very much overreact to this because he is a young black teenager and he ends up getting beat up by the cops. and another character who is a white teenager at the same school ends up witnessing this, and it's about kind of what happened to Rashad, the one who is beat up, and also whether Quinn, the bystander, is going to speak up about the fact that he didn't actually do anything wrong. So it sounds really interesting. I really liked what I've read from Jason Reynolds before, and yeah, just decided to pick it up on a whim. Hopefully I'll get to it soon. The next one that I picked up is Witches Steeped in Gold by Shannon Smart. I don't really know the synopsis of this one. I've actually just had to read the back, and I'm going to read it to you at the minute. So it says, Araya Adair has spent her life in a cell. Heir of an overthrown and magically gifted dynasty, she was exiled from the island nation of Ica, but every day brings her closer to freedom and vengeance. Jasmine Carriot grew up dressed in gold and with stolen magic at her fingertips. Daughter of the self-crowned Doyen, her existence is a threat to her mother's rule, but Jasmine has no intention of dying. Sworn enemies, the two witches enter a deadly alliance to take down the woman who threatens both their worlds. But revenge is a bloody pursuit, and nothing is certain, except the lengths Araya and Jasmine will go to win this game. It sounds intriguing. I've heard nothing but good things about this. Obviously as well, this cover is gorgeous, so this caught my eye as soon as I saw it. This is actually what I went in the store looking for, because like I said, I'd heard nothing but good things about it and I knew I wanted to read it. Don't want to know much more than what's in the synopsis, because I think I said before, I like to go in fairly open-minded, not knowing too much. I just know that I'm excited for it. So now we get on to a pre-order, and that is Heartstopper Volume 4 by Alice Oseman. If you've watched my last video, you'll have seen that I've actually already read this. I read it during the month of May, read it pretty much as soon as I got it. And it is, I don't think anyone needs a synopsis of Heartstopper. It is the story of two schoolboys who start a friendship and then end up in a relationship, and it's just adorable and cute. And this one actually deals with quite a lot of more heavy subjects. It deals a lot with mental health and eating disorders, so trigger warnings, but I will say nothing's really depicted on page. A lot of it is spoke about in sort of past tense, and also it's really good because it talks about how treatment can be helpful. A lot of times when things are dramatized, you find that treatment is actually seen as a negative thing because they like to add the drama, but in this one it's actually a lot about how treatment can be really good. Obviously not everyone's experience is great, but if it's done right it can be very, very beneficial, and that's shown in here, which I absolutely loved. Yep, I love this book. This is the penultimate volume, so I will be very sad on the day when I get volume 5, but I'm very happy that I have volume 4. And the next book that I have is actually what I am currently reading, and that was the Illumicrate book in actually the April box, but it came a little bit late, and it is In the Ravenous Dark by A.M. Strickland. So this is all about blood mages, and basically it's in a world where if you are a blood mage, you are required to create an heir and pass your bloodline on. It's basically about the royal family trying to sort of control the power of the blood mages, and the main character in this has managed to hide the fact that she has this magic, that she has this ability, until she is found out and sort of dragged to the palace and brought into all of that sort of political intrigue. It's also got a lot of queer representation in here, so the main character is pansexual. I also believe that this does have polyamorous rep. I haven't got to that point yet, but I believe that is something in here, and judging by sort of the end papers actually that Illumicrate put in here, yeah, I can see where that's coming from. But I am really enjoying this book so far, and also how beautiful are these edges. I hope that I end up really loving the rest of it, but if you've watched my wrap up, you've probably seen my final thoughts, because I'll have added that clip in because I hope to finish it in the next couple of days. The next book is actually a gift that I got from somebody in the bookish community. So basically I was on a Discord chat and and somebody had just asked how everyone's day was going, and I wasn't having the best day, so I ranted a little bit about how sort of anxious I was feeling, and the next day this book arrived on my doorstep with a little note saying, because you said you had a bad day, I hope you love this book. And that was from Effie. I will link her channel down below, and she very kindly bought me We Hunt the Flame, which was on my Amazon wishlist. I'm very excited to read this actually. It really did cheer me up actually when this came through the door, so thank you again. But yeah, basically this is, I'm going to read the back on this. So it says, Saphira is the hunter, forced to disguise herself as a man. She risks everything to provide for her people. Nasir is a prince of death, a feared assassin who is forever bound to the command of his father, the Sultan. Both are legends friends in their kingdom, but neither wants to be. And when Zafira embarks on a dangerous quest to return magic to their suffering land, Nazir is sent out on a similar mission, but as their journey unfolds, an ancient evil begins to stir. I think that sounds really intriguing. I actually am in another group chat all about Taylor Swift randomly, where somebody in that really adores this book and speaks about it a lot, so that's made me want to pick it up more. I believe it's a duology, so hopefully I really like it, and then I'll pick up the second book after. So yeah, thank you again, Effie. I very much appreciate this. The next book that I got, I actually bought because I have an arc of the sequel, but I haven't read the first one, and that is The Extraordinaries by TJ Klune. So I read The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune earlier on in the year. It's one of my favourite things I've read so far this year, and I do want to read more of his writing, but he has written a lot of books, so I don't really know where to start. The Extraordinaries is one that jumps out at me quite a lot. It sounds really interesting. It's about superheroes, and the main character has a chance encounter with one of these superheroes who he happens to have a major crush on, apparently. It just sounds really fun, and yeah, I've heard very, very good things about this one. Like I said, I do have a arc of Flashfire, I believe it's called, the second one, so I'm hoping to be able to pick this up very soon to read this. I might even pick it up during June because Pride Month, and this does sound very queer. TJ Klune's books do tend to be, I believe. I'm very excited to read this one and then move on with Flashfire afterwards as well. And the next book is another one that I've already read because it was a pre-order and I read it pretty much as soon as it came in. It was on my TBR last month from my TBR game, and that is The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. So this is a non-fiction book that basically looks at human life by reviewing very random facets of the world on a 5-star scale. So there are reviews of songs, there's reviews of like hot dog eating competitions, but then there's also reviews of our capacity for wonder. Like, some things are very abstract and some things are very much not. It's a very interesting read, I would say. Probably not for everyone, but I'm quite a big fan of John Green in general, not just his writing work, but also a big fan of his YouTube channel, Vlogbrothers, that he creates with his brother Hank, and obviously the podcast that actually started this book. So this is, I gave full thoughts on it in my wrap up, but we'll just say that it was a very sort of special book to me and really sort of hit me in the feels a little bit. So I'm very happy that I have this one. Also, finally managed to get a signed John Green book because I met John Green, but I met him like outside a football match, and I didn't have a copy of my book with him to sign at the time. And I've always wanted to have one of his books signed, so I'm very glad that they were doing some signed copies of this one. He actually signed every single first edition one in the US, but the UK ones, he only did a small amount of them, so I'm glad that I managed to get one. I'm actually getting all the signed books this month because the next one is also a pre-order that I had that was also a signed one. That's the thing, because of COVID and obviously everyone not being able to do book signings, like face-to-face book signings, Waterstones have got a lot of special edition signed books that you can pre-order. So as much as I would like to meet these authors in person, it's nice to just have the signed copies anyway. And the next one that I picked up was Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Do you know what's really annoying though? This one's a sticker. This one's not. This one's stuck on. Anyway, can we appreciate these end papers? And yes, signed by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So this, I believe, is linked to one of her other books. I think in the previous video I said Daisy Jones and the Six, but it might actually be linked to Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo instead, but it's very like loosely linked. Essentially it is about a family of, it's the kids of a famous singer, and they throw a party in Malibu and something happens at the party. The house ends up burning down, I believe, and secrets and things like that get revealed. I think it's just like a family drama all set around this party. I don't need to know too much more about it. I've just loved both of the other books that I've read from Taylor Jenkins Reid before, so I'm very excited to be reading this one. We just have two more books to talk about. They are books that I picked up in Waterstones a couple of days ago on my way home from work. The first one being Hanny and Issue's Guide to Fake Dating. So this one is about two teenage girls who decide to pretend to date each other. One of them is doing it because she has come out as bisexual to her friends, and they don't believe her because they say that if you've not been with a girl, you can't possibly be bisexual, which no, but okay. And the other one is wanting popularity so she can become head girl. So they basically decide to do this fake dating to kind of use each other to get to their own means, but I'm guessing that real romance follows on. This is by the author of The Henna Wars, which I've heard really good things about, and yeah, I'm really intrigued by this one. I'm planning on reading it in June for part of Whatever You Want a Fun. And then last but by no means least, I purchased a second copy of one of my favourite books from last year, and that is Felix Ever After by Kacen Callender. So I've lent out my original copy of this and I will be getting it back, but my sister has it and I haven't been able to see her very much to get it back. But I've been wanting to reread it, and also it's just come out in the UK for the first time because the one I had previously I had to get in from America, and the UK copy has these beautiful sprayed edges. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to buy myself a second copy. It's one of my favourite books that I read last year, so it's always nice to have a second copy. It tells the story of Felix, who is a trans kid who basically ends up getting bullied by somebody, and so a particularly bad event happens where his dead name is leaked to the entire school, as well as sort of photographs of him before he transitioned, and Felix thinks he has an idea of who it is. So in order to get revenge, he decides to catfish that person basically and starts this kind of online relationship with him. But then it ends up being that sort of real feelings get involved. There's a bit of a love triangle as well. I really, really adored this book. It's, as well as being about the love triangle, it's also about kind of identity and the fact that just because Felix has transitioned does not mean that he has completely figured himself out yet. And it's a lot about sort of the intricacies of identity. And yeah, I really, really loved this book. So I'm very happy to have another copy and be able to reread it during the month of June for Whatever-a-thon. By the way, if you would like to know what I am reading for Whatever-a-thon, please click over to my TBR game and you can see the full list, although I've worked out sort of what my extras are going to be, so they're going to be surprises for my weekly reading vlogs that I should hopefully be doing during the month of June. But that's all I have for today. I do have a fair stack of books here. It's 13 books in total, which is a lot, but you know what, I actually spent less this month than I did last month because I didn't spend ridiculous amounts of money, although I have pre-ordered a lot of fancy sort of Illumicrate editions that will be seen in future months. They've been putting out a lot of good stuff recently. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff down below. Tell me what books you've been hauling recently, what you're really excited to read, and I will see you all next time. Bye.